sneak peek of some tools of the trade for this video and the finishing of this cute little kitten. Are you ready? Let's get going. Hello and welcome. So if you haven't seen part one of this two-part video, I will throw that link up on the screen for you right away, and then you can go watch that. Anyway, let's get back into this painting. So I'm putting a little bit of eye details in here. I've worked on the fur for a very long time, and now it was about time to just do something about those eyes because they were super flat. So I'm just adding a little bit of shadows here. And my itty bitty tiny little liner brush, I'm gonna add some more green tones to this. Now this may look like she's got the chicken pox in her eyes, but trust me, from a distance it looks pretty good. But you know, sometimes you have to get through the ugly face right before you get to the pretty part. Now I'm glazing actually, so I've mixed a bit of yellow in with the green that I already used, and then add a bunch of water to it, and then just kind of glaze over what I've already done, just to make it pop, create a bit of warmth and depth, and you can already see the difference between both eyes. Like a light gray because it was just, there was more gray in the photo. Here it is, and I just wanted her eyes to pop a little bit, but I still wanted to stay true to the picture, and the picture is a bit of grayish more than green, although her eyes are actually green. It's probably the lighting that was just not hitting it right there. But anyway, going back in with some gray details. Picking up a different brush, and you can see me like put the color on the side there. That's actually the tape, because I wanted to change the fur here. It was just not right, and I needed to bring in some shadow. But there's just a tip: just go and dab your paint on, you know, the tape that's around it. If you actually tape it off, it gives you a little bit of an idea what it looks like on your painting rather than on your palette, because my palette is a plate, a ceramic plate, and it's white. But sometimes you can't see what the color is really gonna be on your painting. So there's a little tip for you. Anyway, so here I am just trying to bring some shadow back into that fur because it was so flat. It was not really, you know, resembling the fur the way I wanted it to. I always tend to get my fingers onto my paintings. I just want to smudge it out. Yeah, I could grab a clean brush and do that. Call me lazy. I just, you know, it's just as easy for me to just wipe it off like the excess, or just dilute it a little bit that way with my finger. And there's one of my cute little favorite brushes, the comb brush. You can get some really cool texture with that super duper quick. Now I do have to give you a little bit of a warning, because you got to be careful with this one, because if you do it like exactly the same everywhere, it starts to look really, you know, fake. So try to change up the direction of the strokes, like I'm trying to do here too, trying to make them overlap and trying to make it look like cat fur. But if you do it all the exact same way, it's gonna look really fake. back in with the liner brush and trying to get some highlights in that fur. Now this is, it is plain white that I'm going in with right now. So maybe you can understand why I said to not ever start off with plain white, because then you can't highlight anything on top of it, right? And this may seem so tedious, all these tiny little strokes, creating all those tiny little hairs. I live for this stuff, you guys. I love doing this. This is probably why I started painting animals, because I really enjoy this. And just putting in those final little strokes at the bottom. She's starting to look a lot more, you know, real in my opinion. One hair at a time. Now, when I was finished, I thought it looked a little too scraggly, as you can see in this picture, and I worked on it off camera a little bit to make it softer. So you will see here's the result after doing that. That to me looks a lot nicer. And I will put both side by side for you so you can see the difference. There you go. On the left was what it was, on the right is what I made out of it, and I can live with that. Yeah, that's a lot better. All right. On to my other liner brush, and it is time to start on the ears and getting some hairs in there, little tufts and stuff. I have to apologize, I do not know why my camera doesn't look very vibrant or like colorful. It looks like it has a haze on it, and I think I know why. my son does play on my phone, and that's what I record with, and if his fingers are grubby and he rubs that off on the lens and I don't clean it, then this may just be the result. I'm sorry. Got 4 kids running around, so not everything will be perfect. So I was just trying to fill in like the shadows that were already there, just to go over it with a bit of a darker shade. And some of it is more glazing than anything, and other times I will keep the paint a little bit like less watery and then it becomes more defined. But yeah, I just really wanted to get those ears done, and as you can see, I'm kind of struggling a little bit on that side because I'm right-handed, and to make the strokes from left to right is a lot easier than to make them from right to left. So you'll see me kind of bending my wrist in funny ways trying to make this work. Give me some tips, you guys. How do you do that? Now this is plain white. Titanium white. Try to get some highlighted hairs. And oh, you gotta be careful not to overdo this. So I'm trying my best to just keep it to a few brush strokes and to not mess it up. Oh, and if you hear any funny breathing noises in the background, I've got the dog in the room with me and she's sleeping. My apologies. And you see there, I kind of made a mistake and I'm trying to fix it by trying to make it look like a bit of an angled hair. But yeah, I struggled a little bit on the left side of the painting to make sure that I, get it right. Again, titanium white, and trying to get that like lovely, gradient almost change of colors of the hair from white to black. It's these little details that I really enjoy painting. Like, I enjoy doing this. And at the same time, I'm scared as heck because I know that this is going to either make or break the painting. But you got to just go for it and do it, dive in. And the good thing, acrylics are forgiving. So if you do make a mistake, it is a bit easier to fix. And then the moment of whiskers. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this was nerve-wracking for me because they are so tiny. They are like so thin, and this is my thinnest of brushes, and I was a bit scared. You can see I made a little mistake there. Sometimes I had either too much paint on there or not enough, or I couldn't quite get the angle of the hair right, but I just kind of went with it. I mean, life isn't perfect, right? So if I do make a mistake, I make a mistake. I'm human. But it's really trying to be ever so gentle, touching that canvas. And sometimes I put too much pressure on it, at other times not enough. And then I try to fix it, but then I overdo it. Like, you know, anybody else has this issue? Anyway, if you are really good at doing whiskers on animals, let me know how you do it. I try my best to find that right balance between the paint and water. So bear with me as I struggle through this part a little bit. And time for the whiskers by the nose. And yet again, I can't stress it enough. This is why you don't use white until the very end. Because if I would have used plain white, you would not be able to see these whiskers stand out against the fur. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why you just wait till the very end. And I decided to go with the left side first because I struggle most with that. And I was quite happy with the result. Excuse me. I was quite happy with the result. Yeah. And then so once in a while, I kind of put too much pressure on it and kind of made a mistake. But anyway, she's starting to look like a cat. Right side just goes much smoother for me. Maybe I should just turn over the canvas. Maybe that's an idea, like turn it the other way and then it may just be easier. I don't know. And you saw me just dip in, like you can't see it, but I'm dipping in the water because I have paint on the palette and then I add a little bit of water and sometimes it's just like a drop. And then I go back onto the painting and then I dip it back in the water because as you can see, that was too dry. It wasn't really transferring onto the canvas. See, now there's more water on my brush and I will be able to create more lines that way. And dapping away the excess. And then the moment that most people are waiting for is that reflection in the eye. So what I do, I go in with like a mid-tone first. So this is not white. This is a combination of probably white, some Payne's gray, and just mixed together because I still want to go in with white as my final highlight. But this is just a little base that I'm laying down. And if you look at the reference photo, the reference photo doesn't show as much of a reflection in the eye, especially in the right eye. So I decided to make up my own because I do like to make the eyes pop a little bit. And you know, reference photo, this is my own creation, so I can just do what I want with it, really. This is not going to a client. If it was for a client, I would probably adhere to that reference photo as close as I can, but because this is my own, for my own, I just kind of decided to go ahead and alter it a little bit. Now this is white, and you can see the difference, and it just starts to make that eye pop, and it just looks like there's a reflection coming from there. It's magic, isn't it? I love it. Yeah, and with those final touches, you guys, those are my final brush strokes for Suki. Then it's time to rip off the tape and reveal the painting. I was struggling a little bit with this, by the way, especially the last part. It's kind of funny. Anyway, there she is, Miss Suki in all her glory. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you would like me to do another type animal or another type of cat or anything like that. I'll be more than happy to take suggestions. I wish you all the best and most wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!